It's October 12th, 2020. I'm Todd Dunn, and today I'm working on Tortuga, although I'm at home. What I'm going to do today is show you how I cut a scarf in the end of a plank that I intend to put onto the Tortuga into a matching scarf I cut onto the boat using the method I showed a couple of videos ago. So today I went over to the boat, and on the port side aft, where I had been working on two plank edge repairs, I cut out the second plank edge bad wood and glued in a new piece of wood. And then I went over to the starboard side and cut the second scarf in for my scarfed joining piece that will replace some bad wood and a butt block. So what I'm going to do right now is start cutting the scarves in the joining piece, because now I have all the dimensions for it. So let's get going and I'll show you how I do it. This is the wood I'm going to cut the scarf into. This is a piece of 5.4 by 6 clear vertical grain Douglas fir. Unfortunately, 5.4 by 6 is 5.5 inches wide, and I need a piece 6 1/8 inches wide. So I edge glued a piece of Douglas fir to it. And what I'm going to do today is cut a scarf into the end of the plank. Now I'm going to start by laying out the scarf using some high precision tools here. A piece of wood. I've already measured off where the scarf is supposed to end, right there. And now I'm going to draw some guidelines on the sides of the plank for where I want to cut the scarf to, which is relatively simple. I'll just turn it up on edge, and we'll use my straight edge here to mark where I want moved. This is just a reference mark that I'm going to cut to. I'm going to go to the other side and cut and draw in a similar reference mark. So the tools you need to do this up till now have been a straight edge of some sort. In this case it's an offcut of Douglas fir. I'm going to set that there and clamp it down to a piece of 2x6 that I've got here on the back tailgate of my pickup truck, that's raised up off the tailgate a little bit on another piece of 2x6 and a 2x4, and it's just raised up so that I can put clamps on the end of the workpiece that I'm not cutting on to hold it in place so that I can work on it. So that's there, and I should now be able to work on it. The main tool I'm going to use to cut this scarf is an electric plane. Now I could have built a fancy jig, but I find that just having a reference line here and a reference line across the top of the plank where I'm going to end the scarf is all that I really need. So let's get the plane plugged in and get going. So what I'm going to do basically is just cut my scarf in with the electric plane, and I'm going to set it up to take fairly aggressive cuts at first, and it's pretty simple. I'm just going to make a whole bunch of cuts at an angle. As you can see, I've started to rough that down. Now I'm making fairly big cuts, 1/16 of an inch, although it doesn't actually remove quite that much. And also my plane blade is a little bit dull because last year I was planing something and it turned out to have a screw in it, and carbide plane blades don't like stainless steel screws much. But I'm not too worried about having a slightly rough surface, because once I get it close to where I want it, I will sand it out. Now, On here you can see I've got an angle across the plank for the end of my scarf, so I'm not cutting it quite straight, but I can fix that just by making more cuts on this side. Now when I'm making these initial cuts, I'm not paying a whole lot of attention to the angle that I've got the scarf at. I'm just cutting it down. Right now I'm just removing material. So anyway, I'm just going to keep going until I get a little bit closer to the end. It's going to take probably about 8 or 10 minutes. Now this creates a lot of vibration, so the clamps holding the plank down tend to loosen up, which provides a kind of nice natural stopping point while you go back and retighten your clamps. But as you can see, I'm making quite a bit of progress on this scarf, and the only thing I'm really watching as I cut is that I don't go past my reference line. I'm just going to take a look at it from the other side now. And I've got quite a bit more wood to remove from this side. This side's already looking pretty good. So, back to cutting. As you can see, I'm getting fairly close to the end with my cuts. I've still got about 1/8 of an inch of wood to take off over most of the length here. The other side is about the same now. I've got it pretty even. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I am going to decrease the size of the cut that I'm making. Right now I'm making a 1/16 inch cut. So we will drop that down a little after I retighten my clamps. And I'm going to go to a 1/32 of an inch cut. So that hopefully I'll get a smoother cut and have a little bit of control as I finish this scarf up. On the line here, and on the other side I've got a bit to go, so I'll make a few more cuts, mostly down in the lower part. That's where I'm off the line the most. Now, I'm getting there. I'm about a 1/16 inch off. I'm still fairly thick at the end though. So we will just how are we doing now? Okay, I'm pretty much right on the line. I'm a little thick at the end of the scarf. Haven't quite hit my end line there, so I'm going to make a few cuts in the middle. And then I'm going to switch down one more setting. Almost up to my line. Yeah, my feather edge is not very, is still about 3/32 thick, and I'm right on the line over here. So what I need to do is work right down here at the end. So just a few more cuts down there, and we should have finished with the plane. Okay. Okay, just getting very close. Okay, my scarf is pretty close to being finished. I'm right on the line here. Right on the line over here. The end of the scarf is pretty close to the line. And my feather edge is around a 32nd of an inch. So what I'm going to do is switch tools. What I have here is a random orbital sander. And I've got a piece of 80 grit paper on it. And I'm just going to use that to clean up the scarf surface and try and even it out a little bit. Normally I use my belt sander, but a little while ago I tore up my last belt and I didn't feel like going to the hardware store today. So I just use the RO sander. Okay, we're down pretty good, so I'm just going to use a straight edge here to look at the scarf and see if there are any high spots. There is a little high spot right in here. So what I need to do is just concentrate my sanding right there. And as I do this, I'm just going to check it periodically. It's getting pretty good. Still a little bit high right in here. Okay, I think I'm probably pretty good now. Yep, looks pretty smooth. Maybe a little high right up there. I'm not attempting to make this super smooth. I'm just trying to make it straight. And right now, except for right in here, I got a little bit of a high spot. Again. Yeah, I think I'm good. So that is how I cut a scarf in the end of a plank. Now what I have to do is cut this plank to length and do the same thing on the other end. And altogether this has taken me about 15 minutes. So it's pretty straightforward. It's a kind of brute force method. But it cuts a pretty nice scarf. It's even better if you use the belt sander. I'll see if I can get a belt to finish off the other end tomorrow. But it makes a nice scarf that should match up what I have on the boat adequately. I didn't sand it with superfine sandpaper because I want some tooth in it for the epoxy to be able to bond to very nicely. So 80 grit is more than adequate. And we're getting there. Now I can continue fooling around with this and trying to smooth it out for hours. Because when I run my hand over it, I can feel a little high spot right here. But it's not really worth the time. But I'll do a little bit more sanding. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me take a look at the feather edge. And that is 1/64 of an inch or so. No point in going any finer than that. So I'll call that one done. So that is how I cut a scarf in a plank off the boat. It's quick. I could use a router and a jig, but I'd have to build the jig and set the router up. And I've found that this is actually faster than cutting the same scarf with the router, and it produces a result that's more or less indistinguishable. So, good enough. And that's it. So, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed seeing this little method that I use. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't, please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to click the notification bell to see my next exciting video, which hopefully will be doing the final fitting and installing this piece of wood on the side of the boat. Thanks again for watching.